Welcome. Thank you guys all so much for stopping by. If you don't already know, my name is Eli with Pokémon USA. Tuesdays and Thursdays are the day where I answer any and all of your guys' questions. I just realized my hair looks kind of like a disaster, but that's okay. We're still going to go through with it. Hopefully you guys are all having a good day. So typically speaking, the title of the video usually correlates to the previous, recorded video that I posted, but I didn't post a video yesterday, so we're just going to have one be about the general topic of discussion I was going to have for yesterday's video. This is just an opportunity for you to have any and all of your questions answered pertaining to anything that you have for me. But if you want to enter into our weekly giveaways, make sure you leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel to do so. But let us jump right into today's topic. But actually, before we do that, my bad, let's give a couple of shout outs to people that are here. Yo, what's up, Tori, Babe Cakes, Leo Lynx, Wrath of Zapdos, Roma Sheets, The Great Hero You, Big Daddy, I'm not going to say the rest of that, Jose Sanchez, Tori Cadil. What's up, everyone? Thank you guys all so much for stopping by. Glad to see that everyone so far is hopefully enjoying themselves on Thursday. I will make this announcement now. I'll probably have to make it some point later in the video, but I'm just gonna let everyone know I will be ending the stream a little bit sooner. It's probably only going to be about an hour long stream. I know I usually go for 2, but as for the reason I couldn't do a recording yesterday, I was very limited on time because I just had so much going on that I was playing catch up for. Today, it's kind of a similar situation, and so I just wanted to still give you guys some content, and so an hour of me streaming and talking with you guys I felt like was going to be sufficient enough for that. And then of course, I'll have a video for you guys on Friday. So I definitely apologize. I will try my best to, of course, get caught up, but I'm going to have the weekend to really get caught up on things, and then we'll go back to normal, I promise. It was only like a one-day thing, I swear. And then stream early on purpose. I know, right? Wrath is like, that's a funny one. Ending it on purpose. Lol. Yeah, right. It doesn't end itself for once. You're like, you think you get to decide when it ends? Ha ha ha. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But yeah, no, so conversations, obviously what is to be had. So if we just go to, let's open another Google Chrome, and then I'll open up a PokeBeach, and let's have a conversation about the new arts that are going to be shown for Scarlet and Violet Base Japan. If you guys have not seen this yet, but they have started to release all of these secret rares that are going to be revealed, and so far, so good. I mean, goodness gracious. One thing I will say I am really, really saddened by is they're not getting rid of regular full arts. They're still sticking around. So really bummed about that. They are getting rid of rainbows, which is, nice to see. I am, happy that rainbows are gone, and instead they have these really cool crystal types. I really enjoy the design on this. It gives me a very much Radiant feel. So if you guys remember the Radiant collections from the Black and White era, this is kind of what it makes me feel like. So we'll do a Radiant collection from, we'll do a Legendary Treasures one to start. So if you guys remember the kind of like designs for this is kind of what it feels most comparable to. So it has a kind of similar design. Obviously, this isn't showing the texture, but this is the texture in which they were using. So I think from an art design perspective, I absolutely love this. I think there's a reason why a lot of people really enjoyed the Legendary Treasure collection. So I personally think that this is going to just bring back that fan favorite art design. So I'm very optimistic about it. But Arcanine and Gyarados are going to be the first two. That's extremely exciting to bring in some really cool art designs. I mean, you've got your shiny gold cards, your other gold cards, whatever, not really exciting. But the art designs for the alternate art trainers that are now going to be introduced, extremely exciting. I'm super duper excited about that. Alternate art trainer designs are cool. Obviously, we still have alt arts that are being introduced for the set. And then look, it looks like they have standard full art versions too. So it's no longer going to be alternate art. Oh, see, now there's this discrepancy there. Now there's this discrepancy. You have a question about it, right? Because before, my biggest thing that I got teased about, or that teased me when I opened Pokemon product, was I hated full arts because I felt like it was such a tease when I could have gotten an alternate art or like a rainbow version, right? And now, is that exactly what's going to happen with these full art trainers now, where full art trainers are going to suck to pull because you want the alternate art trainer? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I will be interested to see how that is going to affect things. But yep, and then you just have some of the standard character rares that are, of course, also going to be introduced into the set. But yeah, I mean, overall, this set right now, guys, it's looking phenomenal. Like, it's looking awesome. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, this set is going to suck because insert doesn't have a Charizard, insert doesn't have an EV or whatever, right? It doesn't have all the high demand characters. It's going to be a set that's going to release all the Gen 9 Pokemon. But for the art designs themselves and the innovation that it's going to bring with the new, terrestrialized art, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be really good. So I am super excited about it. But what's up, average player? Shout out to you. Thanks for stopping by. Daddy says more. I just can never say your name at this point. Pokemon is such a good place. Crown Zenith, followed by Scarlet Violet, then 151. Good time to be a collector in the hobby. Yeah, we're definitely going back to back bangers for sure. What are the printers at Pokemon doing? Because I thought they were supposed to go burr after buying MPG. So the thing is, I love Rainbows Ugg so good. Or I love No Rainbows. Yeah, same here. So I think I said this on a video, but I'll just kind of briefly say it again. I think the printers are just waiting for I think they're just waiting for Scarlet and Violet base because they're going to be increasing MSRP. And it makes the most sense for them to capitalize on that MSRP increase by holding off all of their prints until, of course, the MSRP increase goes into effect. Because then they're literally missing out on financial opportunity, right? So it totally makes sense that way for them to do something like that. Got my second Crown Z in the Pokemon Center pre-order. Should be in soon. Shout out to you on that one. Marvel unboxings. What's up, Tori? Thank you all. Southern Rainbows. Tori says, I hope they give some love to the Venusaur and Blastoise as for the alt arts. Yes, if that is something they're going to do, it's going to be a 151 set of alt arts characters. I agree with you. Yeah, you're spot on with the full art trainers versus alt arts. Yeah, it scares me, man. It really scares me. Scarlet looking good. I agree. So the Rainbow, this set isn't going to suck. Who's saying that? I haven't heard that at all. Well, here's the deal, Rainbow. I hear just all the time messages, comments, social media, whether it be, I hear it everywhere, where it's like, Scarlet and Violet's gonna suck, no one's gonna care, it's a base set, historically base sets have done bad. Which, I mean, I think that the historically base sets have done bad is a fair argument because the art designs are usually lackluster, but obviously the Pokemon company has changed things up quite a bit since COVID, I would say. They've really gone into the direction of art style being so much more appreciated. And so that's why things are rapidly changing with that. But yeah, you would be surprised. I mean, there's just a lot of negative people all the time that are just saying negative things. But then there's also a lot of hyperbolic people. So I'm with you. One better base set we have. I'm with you. One of the better base sets we've had in a while. Yeah, no, 100%. I would say this is definitely the best base set we've had of all time. And that might seem very controversial to say, but it's pretty spot on. I mean, if you look at general base sets as a whole, for the most part, they've always been extremely lackluster. Like, maybe you can say, like, for its time, obviously, Black and White had a cool base set because it introduced full arts for the first time, but it was only 2 full arts. So it was like that and hollows. So that wasn't really exciting, right? And you could make the same argument with, Diamond and Pearl era. Oh, they introduced level X's for the first time. So each era introduced a new style, whether it be level X, EX, obviously different card types and art designs. So it's like, that's not really anything special, And I think one of the reasons why Sword and Shield was pretty lackluster was because you went off of them introducing GX cards with like these really cool alt designs. and they didn't introduce that or keep that in Sword and Shield until the second half, so that was just kind of a bummer. And so Sword and Shield, I feel like, felt really underwhelming. Same thing goes with Sun and Moon. I mean, Sun and Moon was a pretty lackluster base set. Overall, nothing really unique about that either. So yeah, I think this is just putting us right on track. I think it has to do with being a base set. Historically, base sets are trash, but this one is coming out with heat. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, now that the set art has been released, a lot of people are changing their minds, but people were preemptively, writing it off because historically. And so that was something where I told people, because this is always my opinion, I said, although you historically have a point, let's be patient and wait. No need to jump the gun on things. Do you think that Fusion Strike ETB is a good box to pick up? I mean, it depends what price you're picking it up at is kind of the issue. Not to mention too, so I went back and I watched Danny Phantom's video because everyone kept telling me to go watch his video to like kind of give my own interpretation of what he was saying, I guess. And from the rumors, it sounds like there's going to be Fusion Strike reprints, so it's entirely possible that we could get an ETB reprint. So I would personally wait off to pick up on Fusion Strike ETBs in case the price drops. But speaking of that video, just to kind of give my general response, sorry, it's been a lot of work. He basically came out and said, hey, I haven't heard any word from my distributors about product coming, but there has been other sources of individuals who I've reached out to that have confirmed early March, late February is when we're going to get reprints. And then some people were rattling off what specific product was expected to be reprinted, and people were like, Eli, Evolving Skies wasn't those products. Just because Evolving Skies wasn't one of those products doesn't mean it's going to be the one that's going to get reprinted. When I first got confirmation that we were going to get a third wave for Evolving Early, we were going to get our second wave for Chilling Reign, and we were going to be getting a reprint for Battle Styles. That was the information that I heard from distribution. I then did not expect to get a reprint for both Darkness Ablaze and Vivid Voltage. There was zero news about that, and so that kind of just happened all at once. So it's very, very common where the Pokemon company passes on information to distribution, or maybe people just hear rumors because of leaks or whatever, where certain sets get released as being reprinted and then a bunch of them tag on that you don't hear about until the very last second. So it's entirely possible that when I get, more information on what booster boxes are going to get reprinted, I will give you guys a general 2 or 3 that we'll find out, and then the remaining amount will be kind of given out the week they end up getting a reprint, because Pokemon just tends to do everything all at once, and a lot of times all at the last second. But C-Man says, Sub, haven't been able to come to your stream because of school and basketball, but I have a snow day. Hey, shout out to you on that one, C-Man. Hey, that's cool, dude. Shout out to having a snow day. I wonder where you are. Do you think, already answered that question, does the MSR increase with SV benefit current sealed holders? I would say that there is no way of knowing at this moment in time, but I do think there's an argument to make that it's not really going to do anything. Honestly, I don't think it's going to do anything. If you're someone who's a sealed holder here, this is the only argument you can make, right? Let's say you bought in Fusion Strike at $75 a pop. Well, booster boxes are at $130 right now, right? If we get a reprint for Fusion and it drops the price and they reprint it charging distro the new distro price, which is around $95 to $98, then all that's going to do is have a higher floor. So if you're someone that I guess got in at 75 and is looking at holding long term and not selling, then I guess it's better for you, because then you have a higher floor. But then also there's an argument to be made that then you're now having a higher dollar cost average if you were to try and, reinvest when the reprint happens, because it's probably not going to go back down to $75. And so that's where it kind of becomes difficult to say it's necessarily a good thing. Not to mention as well, why would you be holding your Fusion if you got in at 75 and you can sell it for 130? That doesn't make any sense. You might as well cash out at that point. You know what I mean? So I would say overall, it's just, there's nothing really beneficial about this. I think it helps inflation-proof older sets, but I mean, older sets are already hyperinflated, so it's not going to really affect them. Safari Zone has some deals. ETB case at 270. That's not bad. No, that's a good price. That's like, you know, depending upon distro, that's 20 to 40 bucks above MSRP or wholesale. Good afternoon. What's up, Trainer Mason? Good to see you. I was picking up some Fusion Strike and Astral 2-pack blisters for $4 each a month ago. Don't know where you're finding a... Oh, it's a 2-pack blister. Wow, that's $2 a pack. That's still a great deal, man. Freshly cut, Duke says. Yeah, I did shave. Pokemon Company said they wouldn't increase MSRP on older Sword and Shield product, right? Well, I have no information that pertains to them saying that they said that. So if you know of a source that said that, that would be great. But I have no idea. That does not make sense why the Pokemon Company wouldn't do that. Why would they not? Because that would just be of detriment to Scarlet and Violet base. Because if Scarlet and Violet base is going to come out and the average price for that is going to be way more than all of the reprinted sets, then people are just going to not focus so much on Scarlet and Violet base and focus on the more reprinted sets because they're going to be cheaper on average. So that just doesn't seem like the best move from a business perspective. It makes the most sense to make everything the same price in terms of MSRP. Danny Phantom, I mean, what video did he say that? Because I watched Danny Phantom's video where he talked about the reprints, and he, to my knowledge, didn't say anything about that. So if it's a different video, maybe, if you can point me to the video and then the point in which he said it, like you want to timestamp it for me. Danny's been saying that for months. He's been saying what for months? That reprints are coming and they're not going to increase pricing? Like, what specifically? Like, because you're going to have to point to a video in particular so I can verify this. Because I need to know exactly so that I can, one, interpret what he was saying. Because it has to be a direct quote that I can't just, you know, try and binge watch his videos and hope to get to a point knowing that this is the part that he was talking about that you're interpreting. You know what I mean? So if that's something you can kind of help me out with, that would be great. He said many times in many videos that the MSRP would stay the same for stuff. I'll find it. Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, just literally, if you know a video and you know a timestamp, please send me that information because I would love to have a conversation about that. They did say that they wouldn't upcharge the older sets, only on sets going forward, but I can't remember the source, but that doesn't mean wholesalers like Walmart or Target will honor that. Okay, that's interesting. So, gosh, but then once again, why would... Interesting. I would love to see where they made that. If that was something they made an announcement about too, that would be also good to know. Probably that Nintendo wouldn't. What's the probability that Nintendo wouldn't increase MSRP on older product? I don't know, man. I mean, if people are getting confirmation, yeah, he said in 2 different videos, reprints will get here just in time for the recession to start. Well, I mean, think about it, guys. If they're going to reprint Evolving Skies, right? And Evolving Skies is, or maybe not Evolving Skies is a good example. Let's say they reprint, I don't know, Brilliant Star. Let's say they print into the ground, booster boxes for Brilliant Star go to, you know, $95, right? $100 because they just printed so much of it. Well, would you much rather pick up a Brilliant Star booster box at $100 knowing the potential investment opportunity? Or would you much rather pick up a Scarlet and Violet box for $105, $110? Like, that's what makes it extremely difficult from a business perspective for me to see that. I know maybe the Pokemon company's like, don't worry about it. Once it's been printed, it'll eventually shore up and everything will be okay. So maybe they're looking at it from a long-term perspective. But read it on PokeBeach when they announced the price hike. Well, how long ago was that article given? Because when they announced the price hike was a long while ago. So, I mean, well, I don't know. I guess, are you talking about when they announced the price hike or when the prices officially came out for the new MSRP, or what in particular? You know what I mean? So if you want to link me to the article on that as well, that would also be awesome for us to pull up. I think they're really only doing this to ensure access to competition legal cards for players. I think that Solomon, that is the best point I've heard so far made. That 1000% makes sense. If that's exactly what they're doing, I totally understand that. I mean, that just makes sense. Yeah, it was at least 3 to 4 months ago. All right, well, let's see if we can make an article about it. Says other products may also cost more going forward. However, the sweet side of this news is that the Pokemon team will try and make up for the increased prices, praising them with the Gear 2 foils, blah, 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 blah. If you're going to miss the Yellow Borders expansion, we're expecting to get a final expansion coming. Gen 9, final expansion. There's some bittersweet. So that article doesn't say anything about it. Maybe Poke Guardian? Nothing there. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in terms of the articles I'm reading. So if you guys have maybe a Poke Beach, maybe this one. No, that's for Japan. Maybe if I do an exact direct search for Poke Beach. This was back in October, though. So maybe this one in December? So it says... due to global inflation, costs of materials, in an effort to continue to providing a positive expansion value, each Pokemon pack will now feature whatever additional products in the booster pack artwork revealed. Yeah, this article also doesn't say anything about that. Yeah, it's all just the same article that I'm reading, basically saying all the same thing. So I'm not seeing it right now. Hey, you found it? You found the video or an article? I'm glad people are searching for it. What set do you think will be the best to pick up after they are reprinted? Well, it depends. I mean, in order, it's going to be Evolving Skies and then Brilliant Star. But that also depends on the price, right? But I mean, you gotta assume that's probably going to be the best deal, right? Like, that's just like kind of the general presumption. You can't send the link here? Well, just message me on Discord. Just message me on Discord and I'll pull it up. Does he have a direct article in the Danny Phantom video that he links? Because that's another thing I want to look into as well, right? No bad product, only bad pricing, right? You definitely need to grow the beard back out. You look way younger. I know, right? I actually look my age when I've got facial hair gone. Yeah, or you can write the Danny Phantom video title. That's another thing you can do too. Problem is the price hikes aren't universal. For instance, the UK booster box prices are still the same at 144 pounds, but the ETP has gone up by 5. Well, the prices haven't hit yet, Solomon. That's the thing. So the prices haven't hit in the US yet. You sent it on Discord? Okay, so... Alright, I'm gonna mute my mic for a second, and then we're gonna watch this video together.
Excited for today. I don't know if I've ever been this, so I think it's important that you printed at those printing facilities and then shipped over to be stored Target to Walmart to GameStop in order. I would kind of put out a story on Instagram or whatever the case may be to say, hey, just so you guys know, Rebel Clash is running low. If you can find them for around $100 a booster box right now, that's a good idea to pick them up because the cases wave 1, and then we'll give you 8,000 cases wave 2. Distribute it how you see fit, and then the distribution right away. So the card Troll and Toad will start out with, they say, okay, we'll offer you 200 cases. Troll and Toad Ultra Premium Collection. Pokemon prints what they expect the market can consume. The market can consume at MSRP, making sure that they don't necessarily overprint, and they probably have a little bit, but certainly making sure that they don't underprint where you run into situations where the Charizard UPC is being sold at $200, $250, $300, where it's being sold double, triple MSRP because there's not enough supply to hit demand. Pokemon is planned, at least not yet, at least not communicated from the Pokemon Company International. Or there's not really forced allocations when it comes to collection boxes. However, booster boxes about Chilling Reign and about much less than a set like Evolving Skies or Brilliant Stars that's going to be around in the competitive format for.
Is there a timestamp you can give me for the video?
The likelihood of them getting reprinted shrinks down. Chilling Reign has only been out for about a year and a half. Fusion likely it is to be reprinted. Much of it depends on current price points while still legal for tournament play. So we're coming to a point in January where we're going to have rotation happen. That means Sword and Shield, Rebel Clash, Battle Styles, some of these Vivid Voltage, Darkness Ablaze, some of these older Sword and Shield sets will rotate out of competitive play. That means their reprint window really shrinks because they're less likely to be purchased by the end consumer since they're not being used for competitive play anymore. So the likelihood of those getting reprinted much less than a set like Evolving Skies or Brilliant Stars that's going to be around in the competitive format for at least another year yet. So as these products age, the likelihood of them getting reprinted shrinks down. Chilling Reign has only been out for about a year and a half. Fusion Strike has only been out for about a year. The likelihood of them getting reprinted, small, but definitely possible, definitely within the realm of possibility in the near future. Now, the caveat is, as we move forward, Pokemon has said to distributors that they will reprint items. However, once their MSRP increases with Scarlet and Violet, the reprinted items that they do will have to be honored by their old MSRP. So a booster box right now of Brilliant Stars, which costs $143, if Pokemon comes out in March and says we're going to reprint Brilliant Stars, they will still follow the MSRP guidelines from when the set was originally released. So they would stick to that $143 MSRP mark for a set like Brilliant Stars, even though the MSRP is going up for Scarlet and Violet. A booster box will cost more. So it's really important to understand that, because that kind of brings the reprint likelihood down a little bit more, because you have to wonder, well, why would Pokemon want to reprint a set that's going to sell for less money than a set that they're currently printing that will sell for more money? So I really wanted to narrow all this down, because I don't want you guys to fall for FOMO or fall for anything that's going on. A lot of stuff is getting really blown out of proportion. I want you guys, I think a lot of it is just boiled down to education and understanding of the way the whole system works. And this is
I just realized I was watching the video on my screen, and literally you guys were just hearing it. No one was actually watching it with me. I had it on the wrong screen, so I was just literally listening to it. I'm so sorry, guys. I mean, at least you guys were able to hear it, but I apologize. Oh, that's so bad. All right, so I watched the video, obviously. Are you watching the video? Yes, I'm watching it. Hopefully you guys can hear me watch it. Okay, so interesting. He basically says, basically what he says is that the Pokemon Company says they're going to honor it, which makes him to believe that the likelihood of them going back and printing a lot of these older sets is less likely, because that's just a financial de-incentive, which you can't hear it. It's like a whisper. Yeah, it was. I didn't hear. No one heard. All right. Well, I heard the video, so we're gonna talk about what I heard. I'm sorry, guys. If you guys want to go watch the older video, it's Pokemon Cards Out of Print by Danny Phantom. That's the video link if you want to go watch it yourself while we're live here. So here's the deal. Basically what he said was, according to the Pokemon Company, they announced they're going to honor the price if a reprint happens. It caused him to believe that there's a less likelihood of these products being reprinted in his mind, because of the fact that it just makes less financial sense for them to do that. However, obviously one of the points that was made is that from the perspective of them doing this, they're just really showing that they genuinely care about the player base, and so that's why it makes sense for them to still do it. So I see both arguments. I see a world in which Brilliant, Star, Evolving, Fusion all get reprinted, and Chilling and Battle Styles don't. That's kind of where my mind is. I would love a Chilling Reign reprint, but I can see a world where it doesn't get reprinted. And the reason for that is because if you look at the history of the first half of Sword and Shield, the sets that were reprinted were everything for last year, or for the end of 2021. Everything got reprinted leading up to, of course, Champion's Path, if you count that as specialty set. But in the Sword and Shield era, it was Rebel Clash and it was Sword and Shield base set. Those never got printed, right? But Darkness Ablaze, Vivid Voltage, Shining Fates Elite Trainer boxes, Evolving Skies, like everything kind of up until the older point or of that like era, which, you know, Evolving wasn't an older point at that time, but obviously got another print. So for me, if they were to kind of repeat history in that regard, all right, what's the first two sets of the new rotational wave? The first two sets of the new rotational wave would be Chilling and Battle Styles, making it so that it's less likely to do that because of the competitive playability of it all. Not to mention, like, he was obviously discussing Pokemon Company. Their tendency is, you know, reprint to demand. We know the demand for Evolving Skies is extremely high. And so it makes sense for them to do that with Evolving, like reprint Evolving Skies for that reason. So that just kind of all is what lines up for me, because the Pokemon Company is probably aware of what's going on with Evolving, and in their mind, they're not going to, I mean, they print a demand. That's just what they do. I mean, it's not like that's changed. Look at the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. Look at the pre-order prices for the Crown Zenith. Like, prices for a newer product is still cheap. So it's not like the Pokemon Company isn't aware of this and trying to just continuously suppress prices for product that is high demand. $300 CUPC went all the way down to the 90s, right? So that's just kind of what makes sense. Elma, this feels like when you didn't do your homework and now we're having a discussion. Oh, Solomon, I'm so sorry. Man, imagine if the Pokemon Company pressed the print money machine. I mean, that's basically what it is. After March, no reason for the Pokemon Company to reprint any set before that. I mean, honestly, Matthew, I think that the argument that this would be the final print is possible, but it's hard to say. Indubitably for the sets that'll be in the E-rotation. And if you don't know what sets are in the E-rotation, that is Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, Celebrations. These are the ones that are in the E-rotation. And then Brilliant Stars and further is the F-rotation to my knowledge, which we can go and check this just to kind of give a full-on confirmation. Advanced search. Let me just do a quick check. Brilliant Star. And if you want to know, it'll tell you at the bottom left of the card. Yep, F rotation for Brilliant Star. Double check, because Fusion was the older set. Was Fusion in the F rotation? Probably not, but let's just find out. Just to, confirm our sources. It was indeed in the E rotation. All right, cool, sweet. So yeah, so it just wouldn't make sense that they're at least not going to reprint the E-rotation. I mean, that just feels like a no-brainer, right? It's still got a couple more years before it goes out of print. But for the E-rotation, it makes sense that, hey, this is it for the E-rotation. We're going to reprint everything now. And then everything else is going to go out of print. Because here's the question, right? Traditionally speaking, the Pokemon Company has always been, we have Worlds in August, we let everything go out of print in September, typically when it goes out of rotation. No longer printing it, right? That's typically how they've always done it historically. Of course, the Pokemon Company can do whatever they want, so if they wanted to go back older, they can, but they're not going to. Anyway, with that, you obviously have the idea that, okay, well, we just recently found out like a couple months back that the Pokemon Company is going to extend the rotation, or a couple months back, sorry, like 6 months ago, that they're going to extend the rotation from September until early next year, presumably when Scarlet and Violet comes out. So it's like, for the competitive format, how is that going to change things in the future? Are we going to say that all of these cards for the E-rotation are going to be rotated out in August? Because if so, then it's a high probability that this is it. This is the reprint, and then we're done for all the E-rotational cards. So E-rotation being Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, Battle Styles, obviously, Celebration, but that's pretty much been out of print forever. Or is it something that they're going to say, hey, it's now every first set of the new year is going to be the new rotational wave change? You know what I mean? So is that kind of going to be the future with it? I've got no clue, but that's just kind of some theories to be had about it. But what's up, Pokemon? Hopefully all is well with you. Be very curious if the issue is changing to silver borders. Yeah, I've got no clue, man. Stopping to slap the thumbs up, brother. Hey, I appreciate you, Necro. Good afternoon. What's up, Patrick? Martians. What does the race to the bottom for Boost Box reprint look like on a timeline sheet? Should I wait a week after distro starts releasing and hope the prices fall? I mean, it's pretty simple what the expectation is, right? The expectation is right now booster boxes are probably not going to get a reprint until end of February, early March is what we've all heard rumors for. Now, does this feel like it's something that is 100% accurate? If I'm being completely honest, it's hard for me to imagine a world where they wouldn't just do it after Scarlet and Violet, but also it was hard for me to imagine a world where they would honor the MSRP price. So it sounds like that is starting to actually line up with what everything has been going on with my sources and other people's sources. So that's kind of where I am with that. And that's what's quite interesting. That is what is quite interesting. So yeah, I don't know. Gotta say the stuff for the 30th anniversary. Yeah, right. Just reprint some XY, everything would be great. Oh gosh, imagine if that happened. Yeah, no shot they do that. In my opinion, Silver Borders has nothing to do with delaying reprints. They're printing SV and CZ at the same time right now. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's so much speculation. It's hard to say. Because like my original thought process originally was like, oh, it makes sense why they're delaying it. Because they're doing so because the Pokemon Company is going to increase MSRP prices, right? That is kind of where my mind went. But then when the Pokemon Company said that they're going to honor the old prices, that kind of now changes my perspective of the way in which I look about it, you know? But at the same time, if you are saying to yourself, right, that inflation itself is causing it to happen because the Pokemon Company is still waiting for Scarlet and Violet to be released for it, then that's kind of the argument you make, right? That it's Scarlet and Violet is kind of like the prelude to the Sword and Shield end, and that's why they're waiting to do all of this, is reprint it all at the last second. I don't know. There's so many different things that are mind-boggling at this moment in time. Kind of hard to say. I'm new to this channel. What website are you on? Oh, this is Poke Beach. That's the site we were looking at. To be fair, if push comes to shove, I imagine Pokemon is going to prioritize Scarlet Violet over older sets to appease new fans for easier entry to the card game. See, I disagree with that, Solomon, and I think the reason why is because you're going to hurt a lot of the player and collector base. And so I feel like that's counterintuitive, because if you're saying to appease new fans, then you would appease new fans by printing a lot of the higher demand set products for a cheaper price. Because if I'm a new fan, right, let's say I just got into the hobby 2 months ago, and I hear there's this amazing set called Evolving Skies that I would love to be a part of, and I can't be a part of it because I joined late, that would suck. But if I heard that there was reprints coming for that set and I had an opportunity to jump in before it went out of rotation, as a new fan, that would make me happy, right? The exact same thing happened to me when I got back into the hobby with Hidden Fates. Hidden Fates Elite Trainer boxes were like $200+. I was bummed out that I wasn't going to have the opportunity to pick them up for a good price. Same thing goes with Hidden Fates tins in particular. And so when they came out with a bunch of reprints and I was able to pick up Hidden Fates tins for $20 a pop, I was super stoked, and I was like, heck yeah, man. Super excited to be able to not have missed the boat for this. So that's kind of where my mind is. You had said last week you had confirmation from distro reprints were coming. Have you heard anything regarding which sets we'll see? Watch Danny Phantom's video and he hasn't heard. Reprints coming for Fusion later. So I actually just made a point of that, Roma Sheets. So basically I haven't gotten any confirmation, but in response to Danny's video, I said this a little bit earlier, but I'll reiterate it. He said that he hasn't even gotten confirmation to sell from his distributors. He's just relaying information he's heard from other individuals. And of the items listed, one of the ones that didn't get reprints was Evolving Skies. But here's the deal. If you guys remember the video that he made where he was giving these confirmations, I made the video the day of where I gave a speculative pitch as to what I think is more than likely going to get reprinted based on the pre-release kits, and how the Pokemon Company is trying to get rid of build battles. And the ones they rattled off, if you watch the video, were the ones that I myself had rattled off based on my theory. and they were just more than likely going off of the pre-release kits in their mind. And so it's entirely possible that the source, I have no clue who his source was, but they just basically were using my exact same theory that I had as to the reprints that are going to be coming. So that is kind of what my personal expectation is. And who knows who his source was? What if his source was sourcing me and then I was the original source? Like, there's so many change the commands of sources, but I feel like he would have mentioned that in his video. Like, oh, we heard from Pokemon USA, but maybe he doesn't know my content. Like, there's so many different things that could be lost in the weeds with this all. So it's very difficult to say at the end of the day. So when it comes to reprints, my general expectation is that I think anything from the F wave is basically guaranteed at this point. Hypothetically, you can make an argument that Evolving and Fusion are speculative, but I think they're pretty much guaranteed at this point. And if you're like, why would that be guaranteed? It's because historically speaking, Pokemon Company has always printed products that are in high demand. We saw that happen with the CUPCs. We saw that happen with Roaring Skies back in the day with XY. We saw that happen with Unified Minds and Broken Bonds booster boxes. Like, we've seen this happen in every generation where the Pokemon Company does a last second print to demand before the set goes out of rotation. Just what the Pokemon Company does. So for them to kind of switch it up on Evolving Skies, especially when it's worth so much, just doesn't really make any sense to me from that perspective. So it would be very much interesting to see on what's going to happen. But that's just kind of where we are with that. And just because his source, like I said before earlier, said that Evolving Skies was not one of the ones on the list, doesn't necessarily mean that Evolving Skies is not coming, because you can look at it two different ways. Let's say that he wasn't referring to the pre-release kits that all of a sudden showed up on distro sites, right? Let's say he's not referring to that. Well, then the Pokemon Company, when 2021, at the end of the year, they had a ton of reprints of the booster boxes that I was told were coming. I was not informed until last second that both Darkness Ablaze and Vivid was going to get reprinted. And so it's entirely possible you could see that happen where here's a confirmation of what's getting printed, and then all of a sudden a lot of booster boxes that weren't confirmed to getting reprinted all of a sudden start getting reprinted, and we hear more news about that, right? So that's entirely possible where you get confirmation everything in F-Wave is, and then all of a sudden everything in E-Wave gets reprinted, right? Or my theory, which is this guy's potentially going off the pre-release kit theory, and there's not pre-release kits on the site for pre-order, back order of Evolving Skies, and that's why he didn't list it, because there is for Fusion. Fusion does have back order prints available, but Evolving doesn't. And so I think the reason why he didn't mention that is because he looked at the pre-order back order list and was like, yeah, it's not coming for Evolving from what we know. But at the same time, as I mentioned before, with my general theory I said that the back order list was basically the Pokemon Company's way of helping get rid of a stock supply of build and battle cases, and by turning them into pre-release kits, which would throw in booster boxes in a pre-release kit, because if you don't know, pre-release kits are kits that are printed right before set release, and so it's very unusual to have pre-release kits get a reprint, and so it's probably just the way for the Pokemon Company to move build and battles by throwing in a booster box. Evolving Skies build and battles were already expensive, so there's no point of them making a pre-release kit for it, because they can just print the booster box. At that point, it'd be super ineffective for them to be able to print build and battles when it comes to the fact that, hey, build and battles are expensive now, but typically build and battles tend to be for pre-releases or when a set first comes out. So it only makes sense for them to just print the booster boxes when it's ready. So it's like, that's kind of where my whole thought process on all of that. I definitely get you. That's how I feel about celebrations. Admittedly, I was thinking more of people wanting things with the video game and not necessarily playing all their games. Probably reading too much into it. How Scarlet Violet seems to undermine competitive play of some cards with targeting V-Star and VMAX marketing new EX gimmick. Yeah, I don't think they'll undermine it though, because they didn't undermine it with the tag team, if we're talking about the most recent, or they didn't undermine it with the Shaman EX card when it came to it being the competitive standard of every deck in the XY era. So it's like there was still tons of competitive cards that got I mean, there's an argument to be made, right? Back in the day, during the Sun and Moon era, what was one of the most prominent cards in like almost every single deck? It was the Mewtwo GX tag team card. One of the sets that they reprinted in the Sun and Moon era was Unified Minds, and they gave a reprint for that shortly before it went out of rotation. So That was a competitively viable card. What did they do in the XY era? Shaman EX card, super duper popular from Roaring Skies in almost every deck. It's like the Crobat, basically, Crobat B. What did they do? They reprinted the crap out of it. Like the Pokemon Company is, of course, now that's an argument you can make with Evolving Skies. Say Evolving Skies has no competitive cards, so, but also at the same exact time, Unbroken Bonds didn't have any competitive cards. Like maybe you can say the Charizard Reshiram card, but not really. Was it used in competitive? It was mainly Cosmic. So it's like there's been times where they've printed things that are not competitively viable, and they've done so because of the demand. Yeah, I looked everywhere, can't find an article about the price variant. Definitely dreamt that. Well, no, I mean, we have confirmation that Danny Phantom talked about it, and I trust Danny Phantom on his sources, so we'll just go off of that. I just want to say Marcus Parkus and the boys love it. If you were Metaprod, I would still choose you. A part of me likes to think that someone at the Pokemon corporate is watching this video, taking notes. Write that down, write that down. That's so funny. That would be funny. How much do you think Pokemon makes off of TCG net? No clue. No idea. I have absolutely no clue. I have no idea how much money it costs them to print product. That's the thing, is I have no idea. Because the Pokemon Company, they print cardboard and shiny cardboard. And then they sell it for however much they sell it for to distributors. Distributors sell it however much they sell it for to retailers, and we sell it to you guys for however much. So now, if you're saying who makes the most money off of this all, it's probably distributors and suppliers, or the Pokemon Company, because they charge the market. They're in control of the market. Reprint team up. Yeah, everyone's over here like, let's reprint Sun and Moon era. Yeah, right. What do you think they shoot for percentage wise? I have no clue, man. I mean, like, I have no clue. I know in traditional retail they always say shoot for 30%, but it's the Pokemon Company. They could shoot for 100% if they wanted. Like, I've got no clue, man. Like, I don't know the inner workings of the Pokemon Company's margin profitability. You know? Japan made $320 US million in profit. Yeah, but is that gross profit? That includes video games, also not international. Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. Wrath, they shot for multiple hundreds. I mean, yeah. I mean, the Pokemon Company does what they want. We don't know what the price of cardboard is. Like, how much does it cost for me right now? And so let's think about this, right? If I want to go buy like a cardboard protector for my Pokemon cards, right? For a thick cardboard protector, it's gonna cost me, if I buy in bulk quantity, like 7-8 cents, right? Then you're saying you've got a bunch of high-tech machinery that's going to be, you know, ink, throwing the art designs on the card. And let's say that you're the Pokemon Company, right? And as you being the Pokemon Company goes, you're basically able to print at mass discount. And so let's say it costs them about a penny a card to print, right? So it costs them a penny a card to print. And then for any of the special cards, right, like holographic, reverse holo, it costs them like 3 pennies, we'll say. Because, you know, the detailed artwork, right? So if we're saying that, it's probably going to be that they're, maybe, like, if we're being conservative here, or if we're not being conservative, for overestimating, it's 15 cents a pack. So maybe you say, by that logic, that it costs them $5.40 if you're talking pure pack value. But then you also say, okay, well then you have that's the manufacturing price, right? But then you have to factor in employees, you have to factor in machinery, you have to factor in the product it takes to wrap everything around, right? So you could say it really comes out to like more than likely $7 for you to produce. And then you also have to talk about shipping costs to ship it out to distro. So I think ultimately at the end of the day, it makes sense in my mind if the Pokemon company is like, it costs them like, I don't know, if you include shipping, if you include labor, 30-40 bucks is kind of what it costs for them, and then they sell it to distro for 60-70 bucks a booster box, and now it's going to be 70-80 a booster box. I don't know, somewhere in that range. It's kind of hard, man. It's such a random topic, but it's funny. The price of Danny Phantom's boosters are pretty cheap at the moment. The price of Dark Phantasma boosters are pretty cheap. Couldn't tell you on that one. It's Japanese product, so I would assume it'll do well. These are penny cards sold for multiple dollars. I mean, yeah, of course. That's how it is, man. Conspiracy theory, Pokemon is scalping ES and other sets in limited quantity. Well, if they're honoring their word, then they're not scalping. That'd be distributors that are scalping, if anything. The artists are relatively cheap, being based in Japan. That's overworked and underpaid by Western standards. I imagine a huge cost would be shipping or storage. Yeah, that's kind of where I am with that, Solomon. Eli, information on the cards from the Prize Pack Series 1. I've seen a few pop up lately. I was curious if you knew how much about them. I mean, what do you mean? I'm really confused by what you mean for the Prize Pack Series 1. What's up, George? I love how the live stream can go into such directions. I know. I mean, that's the fun thing about the stream. Maybe let's not calculate the tax implications as appreciated machinery on the stream. Yeah, right? I know, but canned stock is still shipped from Asia. But card stock is still shipped from Asia. Yeah. See, yeah, that's expensive. Yeah, but they aren't, Solomon. Because, I mean, what's the future for the Pokemon company, right? At that point, are you saying they just become a monopoly? Where they just run everything from their Pokemon Center and they just create multiple warehouses? Because at that point, you're saying to yourself, they would just cut out distribution and also cut out retailers. I think, if anything, like, I don't understand the point of distribution. Like, think about it. What is distribution as a whole? Distribution is they help distribute the product for the Pokemon company. The Pokemon company sends everything to these companies, and these companies send everything to everyone else. They're in charge of that, right? So they're basically in charge of the logistics. If the Pokemon company says, nah, we want to be in charge of logistics, cut the middleman out so that we can offer a better price point for the market for retailers, that makes more sense. But I don't see the Pokemon company getting into retail, because that just seems like, on a mass scale, like, they have it on their Pokemon Center website and they make good money doing it, but it seems counterintuitive for them to do that, because the whole thing that they care about the most is the player base. And if players don't have a place to buy Pokemon product other than the Pokemon website, and they don't have a place to play the game, then that doesn't make sense. Like, what does distribution really do, right? They don't create an environment for the actual player base. The retailer / local game store does. So that's where my mindset is. The future, if anything, would be getting rid of distribution. Or getting rid of online retailers too. That's another one to think about as well. Hey Eli, hope you're doing well. Love the Tuesday, Thursday stream. Keep it up. I appreciate that, Alexis. With pre-orders, do I get charged on release date or day of allocation? Goliath asks. I assume you are referring to the Patreon. So how it works, I mean, it explains that in the video, I'm pretty certain, Goliath, but it kind of breaks it down for you. But more or less, I don't charge you unless I have the product on hand or it's confirmed what your allocations are. Once your allocations are confirmed, then I charge you for the product. So that way, because let's say you order 20 booster boxes and I get you 20 booster boxes and then you change your mind. One, that's a big no-no, because that breaks the whole, agreement that you make when joining the Patreon. And so at that point, one, I'd have to kick you out. I'm not saying you particular, obviously. I'm just saying hypothetical. But then two, it gives me time to sell those other 20 booster boxes that someone decided not to pick up after they pre-ordered it. So far, what's the chase card in Scarlet and Violet? I mean, I don't know. It depends on what everyone else wants. That's kind of the hard thing. I mean, Scarlet and Violet, when you're talking about what's kind of in the cards themselves, here, let's go to page 1. I mean, there's a lot of cards to really enjoy. I feel like it's probably the trainers. If I were to get, I mean, these are cool. I think these are going to be chase cards. Gyarados, Arcanine, and then some of the Altar trainers are going to be the chases, probably. Well, think about how much they're selling, and then you need to factor what amount of labor it would take to sell each box individually or at much smaller scale. That's probably the... Well, yeah. No, that's exactly where I am, Roma. Like, that's what I feel like a lot of people don't consider. I remember having a conversation with some of my friends, because back in the day when I used to work at a restaurant, right? People would always say, man, this restaurant probably makes so much money because pasta and tomatoes are so cheap and it's so cheap to make, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't think you understand. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it is cheap to make, but you also have to take into consideration that you've got a chef and you've got multiple sous chefs and a dishwasher and servers and hosts and a manager that are all running the restaurant. And so all of these expenses are tacked onto that. You have like 10 to 20 additional employees that are there just at the storefront working at that moment in time. And then that's not even including corporate. So it's like there's like a chain of command when it comes to labor costs, right? That a lot of people don't take into consideration. So yeah, I 100% agree. People need to understand that a lot more. But that's obviously storefront related. This is, of course, this is manufacturing related. So you're assuming they've just got a bunch of automation that's going to outsource labor. So, or that's going to get rid of outsourcing labor. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I was thinking more cutting LGS side. If you either buy from Target or Walmart with them selling to market companies or Pokemon directly. See, that doesn't make sense though, once again, because if they care about the player base, that's just going to kill the player base. You need the game stores to have a place to play. Was with you when you said got rid of distro, then you said get rid of online retailers. I know, right? But I'm saying this is all hypothetical. We have no clue if they're going to do that. They would have to make the Pokemon Center available for every single country if they were to cut out the middleman. But that's the thing, is that wouldn't be to cut out the middleman. That would be to cut out retail, which they wouldn't do that. Chase would probably be the 2 Terra cards. Yeah, probably. Variability costs increase with volume. At some point, you become less efficient with your returns. Yep, no, that's 100% accurate. There's always a point. But we just don't know what that point is for the Pokemon Company, because this is all hypothetical. But, well, ladies and gentlemen, I said that I was only going to be going for an hour today because I am still behind on a lot of stuff. So I will post a video tomorrow, so don't worry. I will post a video tomorrow. But as far as it goes for today, I'm just going to kind of wrap it up here. Sad to say, but got things I got to do. Got things that I got to do. So I want to thank you guys all once again so much for stopping by. Sorry to end so soon, but if you want to enter to our weekly giveaways, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Appreciate you guys all so much. Armando says Dankus just got here. Sorry. I know. I ended early. I apologize. I feel bad because I want to keep going, but I gotta end it. I gotta sadly end it. I've got way too much stuff going on. All the collector's chests arrived today for those in the Patreon program. You know what that means. I've got 2 pallets in the warehouse. So, but all right, thank you guys all so much for watching. Until then, I will see you all on Friday. Peace.